what I would like to see is the change start right here in Virginia. You know, I like to see someone step up to the plate and say, I'm going to lead these people no matter what. Because you can't please everyone all the time. It's impossible. You've got, my mother always said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I don't think that anyone on the Board of Supervisors right now has made a stance. You know, just looking at the faces of the members of the Board of Supervisors when they were, you know, how do you see children crying and grown men, you know, weeping, you know, and not be moved? I saw some members of the Board of Supervisors sleeping. You know, Corey Storp got up, you know, he got up a few times. He was in the hallway laughing, you know, making jokes.
You getting interviewed by CNN?
Yeah, you know, what can you do? I mean, these people's lives are being affected. You know, how do you feel nothing? How do you say?
I can't speak for the other supervisors, but I can tell you that those I've spoken with were mortified, physically sick. But you have to understand what they voted for here. Yes, they voted unanimously, but you got to understand what's in that resolution. There wasn't a whole lot in that resolution, okay? And the people are asking for something to be done about those that commit serious crimes, about the neighborhood zoning laws, etc. Something has to be done. The way Corey Stewart did it was wrong, just outright wrong, okay? And for me, that demonstrates to me that he doesn't have the leadership ability
I mean, this is
to affect change.
This is a local laws issue, not an immigration issue.
That's right.
If someone wants something to be done about crimes, then maybe we need to revisit the local laws and how we deal with those issues. I mean, if someone wants to have something done as far as the aesthetics, you know, of neighborhoods and different things of the like, then that's more of a communal issue as opposed to an immigration issue.
I talked to a voter tonight. He called in and he said, you know, Frank, he said, I'm going to vote for you, but I just want to let you know that I got a chicken running around in my front yard, in the front street here. And earlier today he called the animal control unit. And the animal control unit said, chickens are not our responsibility. You need to call the zoning folks. And he called the zoning folks, and the zoning folks said, I'd be happy to do something if you can just tell me what address the chicken lives at. This is a true story. I mean, at least he told me that's what happened. And he said, well, county staff, he said, that's not my job to go find out where this chicken is. That's your job. And basically you're passing the buck here. But we got chickens running around in our neighborhoods. I mean, come on, that's just, I mean, that's not appropriate for our residential neighborhoods. Running a restaurant or an upholstery shop out of your house is not appropriate for our neighborhoods, right? Now, I think we need to do a much better job of educating property owners, homeowners, when they move into our area, in their language, as to what our standards are, okay? And once they realize and understand and appreciate what those standards are, and they don't comply with it, that's when we need to enforce the zoning laws. Okay, but it's an education process, it's a socialization process, and the county has to step up and provide that kind of leadership. And I'll bet you that whatever resources are needed to do the front end education and prevention work is going to pay off tenfold on the back end on the enforcement part.
The burden of leadership is heavy, and I think that you and I, we both live in a district where the people have incredible needs. And, you know, I think that with you, you know, running in this election, I think that you've really got to listen to the people, you know, because you're their voice. I mean, these people are entrusting you to represent them, you know, and I think that there's no way to represent them. That's why I'm so happy that you said you went door to door and you had an opportunity to sit down with people and speak to them in their own language, because there's control in language. Language has always been a controlling factor. I mean, just looking back, you know, historically at slavery. If I was from the Zulu tribe and, you know, your wife was from, you know, another type of tribe, or you may have been from the Mandinka tribe, they would put us all together because we didn't speak the same language. So because we didn't speak the same language, we were easily controlled. So to go and speak to someone in their own language and have them understand you and you have an understanding of them, I think that's awesome. I think it's incredible. What we need to do is focus on change. We need to focus on change. I think that, you know, obviously the Latino community is growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds. So we've got to address those needs. As Americans, we've always had an extremely difficult time with change. But I don't believe that we should set the tone in our community where American citizens are fighting for their rights. Because there's no way to distinguish who is a citizen and who is not, just by the color of their skin. And if we do that, then we're no better than some of the laws implemented in South Africa, apartheid.
Right.
You know, are we to go back to that, where everyone has to walk out of their house with their birth certificates in tow? But, you know, I'm really happy to have had the opportunity to sit down here with you tonight.
I've committed to be a full-time supervisor, which my 3 opponents have not.
Exactly.
This will be a second job to them.
Okay.
Because I own my own business, I have a lot more flexibility, and I can work during the day
Exactly.
for the folks in Woodbridge.
Exactly.
My door will always be open. I will have Spanish-speaking individuals, people who speak other languages,
Exactly.
working in my office.
Exactly.
Because I can appreciate that, the importance of being able to pick up the phone and call and speak to somebody in their own language.
I understand.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you do agree that we've got to revisit this resolution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think November 7th is soon enough.
I would agree. So so you're definitely in support of getting together a communal forum?
Yes.
Where people have an opportunity to talk.
Absolutely.
Not just talk,
Yeah.
but make.
Affect some change.
Now
That's
you're
right.
talking.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Right.
Exactly.
That's right. And I'm going to lean on the church community, on schools, on centers of, individuals that carry a lot of influence in this community, bring those folks together to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Right.
The thing, what you're talking about, Mr. Principi, is tough. You know you're going to have a lot of people stand against you. But the only thing that I would ask of you is to just stand. I'd rather stand alone in righteousness than join the, just be a part of the crew of unrighteousness, just to say I was a part. You know, sometimes I think as leaders, that's what we have to do.
That's right.
You've got a tough task ahead of you.
Yes. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed November 6th.
Okay.
And let's get out to vote.
All right.
All right.
All right.